Hello everyone, this is just a short video about seed labeling. This is somewhat of a video response to the GettingThereGreen YouTube channel. Feel free to check them out. It's just GettingThereGreen. Basically, what they use to label their plants are wooden, or their seedling starts are wooden clothespins. The ones that have the spring that go like this. Everybody has seen them, and then they just take a pen or a marker and you can write right on it because it's wood. It'll just absorb it and it won't necessarily wash off. And you can reuse them year after year. You just take them and you stick them on the edge of your tray, on the edge of your pot, what have you. You can even use them outside in the garden. I would assume you put a little stake in the ground or a popsicle stick or some kind of stick and put it on there, put your clothespin on there, and you'll be able to use it for sure. And they're not very expensive. You could probably pick them up at the dollar store to get maybe a dozen, 20, 30 of them or so for $1, a few dollars. Anyway, the typical labeling method is with some kind of stake or some kind of plastic stick or wooden popsicle stick. There really isn't a bad way to label as long as the label works. I've tried using the little plastic ones. I don't have any handy, but basically I wrote on there, and I put it in the soil, and then I had my dome on top, and basically the next day I came back, all the ink was smudged off of it because of the humidity, and since it was plastic, it didn't absorb anything. So basically I thought there has to be a better way, and for me I got to keep more track of what I plant this year, probably more than your typical home gardener, because I got to keep track of how many I plant, germination rate, etc. So anyway, if you watched my last video on starting my peppers and eggplants, you would have seen this chart. I just made this. I actually use this on my CAD program just because I have it. You could probably use this in Excel, Word, whatever, and you basically just make a grid. It doesn't matter if the cells or what size they are, as long as the cells that you have on your tray match what you have here. And you basically lay it out flat, and you write on what each cell contains, or you put an abbreviation or maybe a color, and you put a little legend, say the green color box is pepper, the red is tomato, the purple is eggplant. It's very simple to do. I've used a combination of abbreviations and colors because I have multiple varieties of peppers and eggplants. Another thing to do, so anyway, as long as I have the tray orientated the right way, which all you could do is put a piece of tape on one corner. Remember, bottom left of the seed tray is the way it has to sit, like while you're looking at it, and then this chart would work out perfectly. Again, this could be done if you have a bunch of separate cell packs or little pots, and just take some time. You can do it by hand, just draw out your pots where they are. However, if you start moving things, and you don't put them back in the same spot, then it could be an issue. But with my seeding trays, this is going to be the way it's going to work, the easiest for me and the best records keeping. Best way to keep records. Also, I'll have these things here, which I'll also show you. These are just basically Excel spreadsheets that I made. It says vegetable seeding date, amount seeded, germination rate, date transplanted, date planted in the garden. You can just make these on Excel. And this way, when you start planting your things, you write down the variety, when you planted, etc. That way you can keep track of what you plant. That necessarily doesn't help you from year to year if you're just a home gardener and you say, I want to plant 5 tomatoes. Okay, plant 5 tomatoes. But when you're planting 50 or 60 tomatoes in 10 different varieties, you kind of have to keep track of what does better, so you know to grow it next year or to not to grow it next year. And this is just a way for me. I have my 5 pepper varieties, my eggplant variety listed, and basically when they start coming up in a month from now, everything will be germinated that will germinate. I'll calculate the germination rate, and then I'll know how good the seeds were to save or possibly use for next year. And again, this doesn't have to be done on a computer or on Excel, Word, these fancy things. If you have a notebook, same thing. I think anything with labeling and keeping records will be beneficial. My way is making these. But as the GettingThereGreen channel said, you can use popsicle sticks, anything. But I wanted to give my 2 cents about what I'm using in case someone wants to borrow my idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, and remember to label your plants.